Simon here with TheSport.Fit. We're going to go through our TO training module and the features kind of that we have through that. So I'm on my front page. We're demoing this through the CF3 because that's what I built it mostly on. I have all kinds of admin dashboards so we can give access to whoever needs it or not in terms of what they can see and what they can do. This is our TO dashboard, where we can generate our content, workouts, everything related to that. So for example, training materials is one of the things that we're making our way through, right? Judging the different movements. So bar facing burpee, and then every single standard has a position, what you're looking for, like where the TO should be, what you're looking for, variations of this movement, if there are any, and then the cues and common faults for it. And then it's got associated media coming from a library that we don't actually know where that library is from. So we've been making our way through adding these, all the different movements, where you're standing, what you're looking for each. They are associated directly with a movement. All right, so if I go into edit, I can see what standard this is associated with, status. Now you can preview what it's going to look like. We can write that content in there. Make that bigger, right? So you can see the stuff. It's got markdown, so you can make it look pretty with the different features there. Saved as a draft or not. Associated standard, linked questions, that's something separate there. So I can save that, add media, save my media. So training materials, and then this feeds all federations. So right now we're building this out under the CF3, but the idea is that the IF3 would be the primary axis. It's myself and Raul, who's on the Canadian board and also on the IF3 TO board, that are doing this. So I would just transfer this to be under the IF3 kind of database instead of CF3 once that's ready. Other things that you can see, so TO3 reviews, something that we had in Softer before, same idea. And there's a front page where people can request a review. They select an event, it would pull up in here. And then again, you can assign it to one of your TOs, search through your database. Great, I'm going to assign this to Simon. So this TO review is assigned to Simon, and then we can upload documents associated, and we can change that, update that in any way. Quizzes, so this is something we can custom build tests in any way, and they look much prettier now. So like the IF3 TO pre-certification test, so it pulls from our question bank, which is, I can show you that after, but again, we've selected the questions specific to the IF3. Select your pass threshold. You can associate a test with an event. So that's more for if we want movement standard tests, which is a separate thing we have, versus this is more of a general test, right? So this just pulls from our test bank. Edit that. You can see the results. So everybody that has taken the test, or what test they have taken, and then how they did, passing or not. And then obviously all the automations, you get an email if you passed or failed, recommending you do it again, all that kind of stuff. We can see everybody's test history in there. The question banks, this is a cool one. So this is, we've got 360 questions in here, depending what they are about. So standards, scoring, none, I don't actually know what all the categories, conduct. So these are more of like the IF3 specific ones that we've had. So yeah, most of them, again, I've got a whole bunch of auto-generated ones based on standards. So I've not proofread all these yet, but all that they are is auto-generated questions based on the movement standards book. So it just kind of does a pop quiz on elements of the movement standards, and then answer options, and then correct answers. So we can edit these test questions very simply, how many points, etc. And then you can assign that to any type of quiz or test that we want. So like I said, and then we custom build. So we have one running right now. We're not actively using it, but we have our qualifier test. So the goal being that we can remove the need for video submissions, hopefully, by kind of giving higher credits to the TOs. So if you can pass a 30-point test that is specific to the movement standards of your competition, then ideally we can loosen our video submission standards or things like that. So that's part of the quizzes. And again, you can make a new quiz, assign whatever questions, randomize order or not, pass threshold, all the things you need in there for generating your quiz. And I'll show you the front end of that after. The test results we did, and then TO directory. So same idea. Now you can fully modify and edit all your TOs from back here. Again, this is currently, I believe it's CF3 and IF3 are all in one big database here. I'd have to check if I've imported all yours. I'll again make you your own. And one of these things that once a TO reaches level 3 from Canada, we would feed that into your database kind of thing. But yeah, you can see different TOs, pre-test. You can update their status, change their levels, edit their profiles and stuff like that as well, which they also now have logins to do that. And the other one, whether or not you use it, but we're using it right now, right, is our workout builder. So like we're running our national championship event right now. So we kind of put our workouts into here. So if I edit it from here, right, I can do the test, the flow, special regulations, equipment or standards, and then the score sheet. There's some kind of code here, and it'll auto-generate the score sheet for you. So based on this, right, that's what it'll put onto the card. Anything else we need to know? Oh, this is, yeah, notes, management notes. So when you're working on the workout, we can add some extra notes in there. Divisions, this is a master one. So it's the overall copy that we use. So all the divisions are listed rather than applying to a certain division, but you might have division specific ones, documents, social, QRs, things like that. So if you want to use it, and then, yeah, you can apply it to that there and use that for the workouts. And then by tagging a movement standard, right? So we know, there we go. So in this, right, our lift event is just a snatch. So we have tagged the snatch and then we tag the TO training. And so all things associated with that will show up on the public side, which we'll pop to real quick here. So the public facing of all that you see. So we've got a big alert. This is our live event right now. So I go down, I can go TO training. So this would take me to the TO training specific page for this event. So you can see up there, it's got its own pretty URL, TO training from the event. So our test, so this is the little test we put together that is based on movement standards. Because I am logged in, which everybody will have their own login, I can just go right into the test. Again, it's nice and pretty. We won't go through it all, but after you do the test, it'll tell you if you passed or failed. It'll email you those results as well, and that'll show up on your profile, whether or not you passed this event-specific test. And again, those are movement standards specific questions only related to the movements being done in this event. Then, so again, judging. So the test, you can click strength. So this will show you the actual workout, what's going on, equipment, division standards, flow, filming requirements, anything else you want, special regulation stuff. And then again, all associated movement standards with it that we tagged there, division variations, if there are any, and then your TO training, as well as a graphic generator for the workout if you want to, but we're not looking at that right now. So again, back here. So again, all your TO training. So we know the strength event, those are the movement standards. So you can go directly to the movement standard to view that, or you can go directly to the TO training, which again, our next goal will be to get these images marked up. So you'll have, the little arrows of what you're looking at, what you're looking for, or videos ideally, but one day. And then again, so judging notes specific to this movement standard, the snatch. And then same thing here. Again, box and povers, judging those things. So everything you need for TO training specific to an event shows up in its own page for that event. So what we do, we have a master copy for them, or you can go specifics by division. So this would be, again, body weight test. You can go by each division and it'll automatically generate the workout specific to that division based on the master copy. So it saves you a lot of copy and pasting and writing. But just as an example, looking at the workout details page. So for us in Circle 21, we will usually just put this part into Circle 21 and then just add this link for everything else. What you get here, so an auto-generated score sheet. Much prettier, great. Again, that little box that we did on the back, and then everything else is auto-populated. Additional standards, because we're on the master copy, so it shows the divisions here. If you were on a division-specific one, it would show your division-specific things, QR code, all these things auto-generated, and I can save that or print it. So again, your flow, your standards, everything for the workout, movement standards. So division variations. So now these are automatically generated for each variation of it. So now I'm looking, right, it doesn't give me all the standards. It just shows me specific to my division. Same thing, custom scorecard for that. So this now doesn't show everything else. It just shows my ages and my divisions and exactly my version of that workout, right? Versus this one that is our general master card that shows everybody's details. This is the division specific variation. So scorecards, and then again, all your standards, everything else, judging, things to know, stuff like that. We're still working through some TO training. And again, same thing, auto-generated graphics for your social media, which you can download automatically. You can do a portrait version. You can adjust the sizing of the text if you want to, make the body bigger, smaller. There you go, great. And now we've got a social media, probably remove the divisions, website offer on, background images, and we can change all these things as you want to. So yeah, that is our TO training stuff. Again, from the front end side, you list your TOs. TOs can log in. They can view all their own stuff. All of our current training materials. So this is, again, upcoming event-specific training. So that takes us to that page we were on. And then here's just currently everything we have generated for TO training that Raul and I have been making our way through. Again, goal will be to have kind of pretty cover images that, all look consistent across those, but that will be accessible to all federations. So the more of that we generate, every federation under the IF3 will have access to that content to be able to use it. And then, like I said, too, quizzes and tests. So we've got our TO1 pretest. I can just pop in and I can take the quiz. We've put into it's your test that we made for you guys, what things stand for. All right. And then same idea. You go through and it does a nice little pass, fail, etc., and notifications related to that. I think that covers all of our TO features for now. And then keeping in mind from a profile perspective, right, I can go to my own personal, so all your TOs will have a login. They can see their status, events they've attended as volunteers or TOs. This is where you can request a review, so it only shows future sanctioned events there, and then I submit that, and that will automatically email through and look for a review of it, which we showed you on the back end before. And again, my tests, my quizzes, what I've done or not, and then all of my history as a TO or a volunteer and the events that I've worked at and what I did at them is all under there. So that is the full breakdown of your TO abilities. You got all your bits and pieces there in that TO back end dashboard.